Hello everyone again, I'm Jeremy Holder, and welcome to yet another episode of Delve into the Void. Today we'll be continuing our E3 discussion with talking about the PlayStation 4 system, Sony, and their conference. The PlayStation brand has been synonymous with E3 since the beginning, all the way back to 1995, and since then has made an appearance at every E3, giving us wonderful, memorable moments every time. Many E3 moments have been completely sealed with Sony in them. One of my favorites, who can ever forget back in 2003 when Sony decided to enter in the portable race, giving us the first glimpse at the PlayStation Portable, which has been also a big staple of their company ever since. Also, I can also remember one of my favorite moments is when they revealed Lair. To me, going around, flying on dragons, jumping around, that was awesome. And it's also one of the reasons I first brought my PlayStation 4. Sony's press conference was loaded from top to bottom. They had everything from major game announcements to sequels to their major franchises to even revealing games that we have been rumored to hear about for years. One thing was a big shocker this year was the fact that they actually showed off actual gameplay footage of The Last Guardian. Yes, people, The Last Guardian is happening. The game looks good, it looks beautiful, and seeing gameplay, seeing it actually alive, man, it was just a beautiful moment for Sony this year. And now, to our discussion with Sean, Clovis, and myself.
Technology that I love also includes this thing here.
Yes.
Hello, my friend.
Now,
You tell me a story about that.
I would say PlayStation, on the other hand, Sony came in with a game that we heard so much rumors for. It started on the PlayStation 3. It was like, oh, we got this great game coming out that's, very unique and so on and so forth. Then it went dead silent, and it became like almost a rumor. Like, will we ever see this? Many people was like, oh, the game is canceled. The game is, put on hiatus. It's comatose. So many times I've read so many articles where it's just like, this game is done. This E3, we did not only get the trailer for it, but actual gameplay footage of The Last Guardian. That was like one of the big super reveals for Sony. They went ahead and opened with that, and I'm telling you, the crowd went wild. But then it didn't stop there. Another game. They went 2 for 2. Another game that people did not see coming. It was just like, we want it, but it was like, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. But yes, I was going a whole different direction.
Because no one really cares about Hitman at this point. But no, the one that you're actually talking
Final
about.
Fantasy VII Remake.
Which they had there was way back when there was a demo that they kind of showed off like a teaser on that and played the game with it. But
it was a tech demo.
There
That's
you
what
go.
it was. It was shown when they released. Everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, Final Fantasy!" No, it was like, no. We're telling you right now, this is a pure tech demo. We are not doing Final Fantasy HD. In fact, they went through and did they remade and redid all these other Final Fantasies. Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3. They even went and redid 10 and did X and X2 and put them together. And we're like, but 7, where's 7 at? And, they was just like, no, we're not going to touch that, we're not going to do this, We felt that we can't do 7 because of the high momentum the fans put it on. We can't touch this until we know we got to do it right. So then they opened up with saying that they're going to remake it, not HD it. Is it going to be a full brand new game with the same story? Are they going to take elements from Crisis Core and Advent Children Complete, because those games came out after 7, and tie those in, because there's so many games that make the 7 universe. The 7 universe is so good that they went and expanded it so much. Would this remake tie it all in and make it to one game that just touches the feels?
And that doesn't have 1 minute long downloads. Loadings when you cast the powerful spells.
Yeah, who knows? It might be like Kingdom Hearts. It might not be like turn-based.
That game in and of itself brought more gamers into the fold where people just went, this experience is amazing.
It was kind of like the first kind of movie-ish kind of experience we had.
Absolutely.
PlayStation back in the day when it first came out, this was like, okay, this is a 4-disc game with cutscenes and stuff, and there was like, we're trying.
And that hits me in the feels. That hits me in the feels. say the words.
Micro spoiler. The biggest spoiler of the game, but everybody knows about now.
Talking big spoilers, I mean, here goes, and I hope people have had a chance to look, but you'll never believe this. Another Uncharted coming.
Yes, another Uncharted, and not just
Who knew?
another. Especially after, like, again, there was like Uncharted 3 was going to be the last Uncharted. Well, fans, we are powerful out there. So if you're a fan of something, you know you got power. Because apparently, there was like, everybody loved this game so much, we're going to continue it on. And now we have, Uncharted 4 of Thief's End. Technically speaking, is also supposed to be the last Uncharted, but we'll see where this goes. But it looked good. I mean, it was one of the best looking games out there. And there's really a lot of great, like Star Wars Battlefront, man. Looked good.
I have hopes. I have high hopes.
Looks good. I mean, it looks good. While we're still on Star Wars, Disney Infinity is getting a 3.0 edition. And as we know, Disney, the Mickey Mouse, has got so much money to just throw around everywhere. He just said, hey, Marvel, I got you and brought you, make you now Disney Infinity 2.0. So yes, we know they brought Star Wars, and now Disney Infinity 3.0 will be Star Wars based, which is pretty awesome. I mean, for bringing the younger generation to the movies and stuff that, we're familiar with right in time for, the next Star Wars movie.
And
I think it all works together. Disney know what they're doing.
Well, I do believe what they've really figured out is how to make sure that no parent out there has any disposable cash left.
Yes.
Because they have squeezed every parent dry, making sure their kids fall in love with these games.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
One of the things that we need to mention, at least for a moment, is that there's that one, Shenmue. It sounds stupid. I'm going to move on. Anyway.
Shenmue 3. Shenmue 3. It was one of the big things that they talked about.
For the Japanese market, it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
For the normal people.
They went ahead and funded the Kickstarter and everything. And, it's going
This is my sad panda face. I just want, and mostly because I know there's people in watching right now who are losing their mind because I'm hating all over that game. And I'm only
including the guy behind the camera.
Oh, yeah,
Let's not make him mad.
I believe at this point the screen actually is just a wee bit blurry because of his tears flowing over the top.
Your side is going to get bleeped out right now. So I'm going to be good. So Shenmue 3 was awesome. It was a great announcement. A lot of people went off, and it was just, it was great. But we will probably get a little haterade if we do not mention No Man's Land. No Man's Sky. It looks amazing to me. I mean, it looks super ambitious. If not, I'm going to just go out here and say it. It could be a little too ambitious. Because is the technology really there? We will wait and see. I mean, because they're saying that this super gigantic, huge universe where you mean to tell me, I mean, it's hard to even picture a game where it's like, okay, I'm on the ground, I'm doing this, I'm looking at these plants, looking at these animals and stuff. I get in my ship, I just fly. I'm seeing me fly into space, and I could go to any planet. Like, let's say, for instance, my brother is over here on planet blah blah. I could go fly down there and just, hang with him, kill his citizens or something, or plant crops or whatever it is I want to do down there, and then fly off and go to my cousin's planet. Really, that sounds
like
amazing,
Spore. Huh? Sounds like Spore, but
it sounds like they're doing a little bit of a job.
It sounded interesting.
Kickstarter and video games. Who knew that they'll be going hand in hand so well? As I mentioned earlier, Kickstarter has been now a new stepping stone for many game developers. Game developers are now looking to get their games funded, whether it's sequels to big franchises or new ones. One of the biggest announcements at E3 this year was when Sony revealed Shenmue 3 Kickstarter link. Within moments, funding has started coming in tremendously. And in less than 12 hours, Kickstarter had already raised $2 million for Shenmue 3, thus making Shenmue 3 one of the biggest video game success stories in Kickstarter. What this means for independent game developers, or for those big game developers who don't want to rely completely on publishing power, this is a great opportunity using Kickstarter, which will be discussed further in detail by Clovis on our next segment.
When we're talking about Shenmue, one of the good things about Shenmue, not so much the game, but one of the good things about Shenmue is that it was a Kickstarter. They used Kickstarter to do a proof of purchase type thing. That's something really important for going forward for indie creators and for small development houses. Using Kickstarter not to get it completely funded, but to show a major company that there's love and a want of the product. And that's taking Kickstarter into a new level as well, because Kickstarter up to this point has only been about funding. Now it's becoming a proof of purchase type thing where we're using it to showcase a product and get the companies interested in the product. Kickstarter is only the first step in funding in a cycle that goes from Kickstarter to a major corporation to your shelf at Walmart or Target or GameStop or wherever. That can't be overlooked because that's a transition in how any company does business. And it's very interesting to watch and see what happens. Now, should it have been spent on Shenmue? That's debatable.
Well, I have a question. Now that you mention that, the thing is that Shenmue 3 is the first, well, pretty much the first, Kickstarter that is being done in this way on E3. And out of all the 3 big press conferences, it was really the only real big, indie thing that was talked about. So here's a question. Do you think, that in the future E3s, could this actually become like a thing where they'll slowly start bringing a little bit more indie stuff? Or
I think there's a bigger conversation to be had that you have something like PAX. E3 is just like the Detroit Car Show, right? So you go to E3, you see the big, nice, brand new cars. You don't go to the Detroit Car Show to see Maker Mark's cars, where people have built and put cars together. You go to the Detroit Car Show to see the brand new car or the future car that's coming out. E3 has always been that, right? Mm-hmm. E3 is the pinnacle of that.
Yeah, it shows all the greatest stuff that's coming out from big boys.
Interesting thing about Shenmue is Shenmue has a track record, right? There's Shenmue 1, Shenmue 2, now Shenmue 3. So there's a track record there. So we know that there is some love and some need for the game to be in the market. What they used Kickstarter for this time was to prove that that need was strong enough that Sony would be willing to partner with the company and build Shenmue out, taking that $2 million that Shenmue funded from Kickstarter as a down payment so that they could build the game in a larger world. You're looking at now these indie developers using Kickstarter as not so much their end-all be-all, but as the starting point to get to your Sonys and your Microsofts and all those types of things.
And with it being successful with this one title on PS4 and actually having them showcase it, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. I think there's something there.
I definitely wish that whole venture the best success.
And I truly wish I was a Shenmue player, so then I would be excited by this news. I think there's a lot of, obviously there's $2 million for the Shenmue players out there. And they have spoken, they have worked it.
And that's the beautiful thing, again, it's kind of a conversation that we're looking at that we have 3 major systems. And this is all we'll ever really have going forward. If you want to build video games and you don't want to build for the major houses, you're going to have to figure out the independent route. And to figure out the independent route has just become a little bit more complicated and a little bit easier because there's a history of Kickstarter getting funded or funding games, independent games, and those games never being built. So you have that. So the question becomes, Shenmue has a base. It has the following already. But what happens to the indie creator who has an idea, who gets to the point of being able to start a Kickstarter, but because of the bad taste left in people's mouths from these other games, doesn't get provided and doesn't get to the door of the Microsoft or the Sony or the whatever else.
And that guy will not show up at E3 with the rest of the big dogs, which sucks, but it's the reality. So at this E3, what we've got is we finally have someone that showed up and was able to pull that off, and maybe they're going to be able to replicate that, maybe they won't, but we still have plenty of stuff to be excited for this E3.
Wow. Sony's E3 conference had a lot to take in. It was awesome and it was amazing. There's so many great games that we have to look forward to for the next couple of years, whether it's Star Wars Battlefront to Final Fantasy VII HD Remake to even No Man's Sky and more. I know one thing, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on Shenmue 3's development. Next week, we'll wrap up our E3 discussion with Nintendo. If you have any topic of pop culture that you want the Delve team to delve into, leave your comment in either Facebook or the YouTube channel, and we will delve into it. Till next time, my name is Jeremy Holder, and this has been another episode of Delve into the Void.
Access Vision. Your voice, your community.